I am Rich Bontrigger, more commonly known as Trigger. Rock the Stage Media is my company, and I've been a broadcaster for over 30 plus years. I have been radio, television, play-by-play, sports talk, interview shows, and now I create media for my own company, but I help people learn how to leverage media better and better. And branding, marketing, it's all media wrapped all together. And there's different ways to elevate it bigger and bigger and bigger. So I help people actually build their media brand empire. It's not just putting out content. It's literally creating something that others will be attracted to. And it's multi-layered. It's multifaceted. Okay. So should I launch off and get rocking here?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. So building your brand authority, and it's all wrapped in that marketing. You now today more than ever had the chance to create a media empire. So I'm going to start off with one of my favorite people in all the world, Walt Disney. Sunday nights, Walt Disney.
Yeah.
I grew up watching The Wonderful World of Disney. And Sunday nights with popcorn and food and family and fun. Absolutely. It was always Mutual Omaha's Wild Kingdom before we got into Disney. But the amazing thing about Walt Disney was he created an empire out of nothing. Yes. Clearly out of a mouse, his imagination, his drawings. And Sunday nights, if you know anything about TV, Sunday nights is the death of television. Nothing good is on Sunday nights. So he got a chance to create The Wonderful World of Disney because the network needed a show on Sunday nights. They actually paid him to produce content for the worst time slot ever. And he took the money to build Disney.
Wow.
So he literally built a media empire. But the great thing about Walt Disney on Sunday nights was it would open up, the introduction, Tinkerbell, and then Walt Disney would be there at his desk, and he would always be telling, sharing stories, vision casting about the next iteration of Disney.
Yeah.
What was the new park? What was the new attraction? And what was the new thing going to be? And he talked to the camera like he was talking to you at home, one-on-one. And as you can see with my picture there, he literally told you what he was building, how he was building it. He did this about 15 minutes every Sunday night. And then he would say, here's our feature. The interesting thing is you go back and watch the replays. They are on YouTube and other places. If you go back and watch what Walt said at the beginning, he was more entertaining, more captivating than most of the Sunday night shows.
Wow. I'm going to have to go look at those.
Oh, yeah. He literally was the visionary creator. He set the tone for everything Disney. So there was Walt Disney, the creator. And then there was this thing called Mickey Mouse. And everything was about the mouse. And Walt made it very clear from his staff to his team to his artists to the marketers, Walt and Mickey are forever glued together. You will know them forever together. And to this day, Walt's been dead for a long time, but there's still only Walt and Mickey.
Yep.
And that will always be that way. Now, let me ask you, what if you could create something like Walt Disney created and literally have a media empire where you are known that well within your industry, within your field?
Cool.
It's possible. It's possible to literally do it, but you need to have a mindset change in it. You need to change your ways of thinking about marketing, branding, about who you are, about what you do. You now get to think of yourself as the brand. And I'm sure you've touched on in different ways here today, but the world has changed from your Twitter account, your Facebook account, so your book you sell, the course you do, for your keynote speaking. You are no longer a keynote speaker, by the way. I've been in public speaking all my life. You're not a public speaker. You are an expert that speaks on X, and that's your brand. You now need to brand yourself as an expert in a field, and then your book, your Twitter, the things you do are wrapped around you, just like Walt Disney was wrapped around Pluto, Daffy Duck, and all the other things, but at the top,
all the other ones,
always Mickey and Walt. So the mindset change is you need to represent yourself as the brand. You're not a nobody. You have an expertise. You have something that no one else has. I have 36 years in this crazy business of radio, TV. It's changed. so much
Yes.
from the beginning of my life. If I had streaming media when I started my career 36 years ago, it would be an amazing different world than what I started out with transistor radios,
Oh yeah.
bad studios, bad audios, calling in on the phone sometimes to do my sports play-by-play show. If we had this technology, imagine what
Yeah.
could be different. We now have the tools to do something, and that is to build your brand. But first, what's your brand story? And a lot of people get confused about this because they want to talk about their book. They want to talk about their course. They say, that's my brand story. No, 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 no. Just like Walt, when he got finally to Disney, he had filed bankruptcy several times.
Oh, I didn't know
He had
that.
had a cartoon character stolen from him. Yes, yeah, he's gone bankrupt several times. He went to Florida incognito because he was buying swampland. And he was going to turn it and transform it into what we know as Disney now.
Mm-hmm.
But he did it, and that's part of his brand story. He was a risk taker. He was a visionary. He was horrible with money. And everyone knew those things about Walt. So Walt's brother was the partner. And Walt's brother was committed to one thing. I will build and pay for things, Walt Visioncast. Tell me the color of the buildings. Tell me what the sidewalk's going to look like. And Walt Visioncast and told everyone the vibe, the smell, the taste, the attitude, everything of Disney came from Walt. And his brother said, now let me go take the money we've collected from Sunny Nights and other things, and let me go hire the people and build the buildings, but you never touch the books ever. And people think Walt's a genius. He was, because he knew what he was and what he was not.
Yeah.
What's the brand story?
Very good point. Very
What's
good point.
your brand story? Mine is, I'm a public speaker, professional broadcaster. I have TV shows, interviews. I've traveled around the globe, and I stutter for a living. When I started my dream of becoming a broadcaster, I could barely say 2 words as a kid.
Wow.
I listened to Cubs baseball, Chicago Cubs, Harry Carey baseball. Harry Carey could make you see the field through the transistor radio.
Yeah.
You could smell the popcorn. You could feel the guys leaning in and leaning out and digging in. He painted a picture as a 10-year-old kid with a transistor radio that my mom and dad took away very often because I stayed up too late. But I loved it so much. I said, I want to do that. Even though I couldn't speak. I could not talk to the girls. I couldn't introduce myself. My speech impediment was very thick. And then I got to stay up late, and I got to watch the great Johnny Carson and the Tonight Show. And I said, I want to do that. That's what I get to do now. I interview thousands and thousands of people, from actors to athletes to authors to public speakers.
Wow.
It's a wonderful place to be now. But part of my brand story is I was a kid that couldn't speak and then dreamed and said, watch me do it. What's your brand story?
Powerful.
What's the story that everyone needs to know about you besides your products?
Right.
Because they don't care about the products, they care about you. More and more, know, like, and trust is not just about what you sell.
Right.
Not just about the good product. They want to know you, like you, trust you so much, they will buy a stick of gum from you because they trust you and your brand message so strong.
That's
Take
powerful.
time and build your brand story. Go back. And part of your brand story has got to be some of the failures. You need to reveal to the people that you are not the rock star you are now. Because people are not drawn to rock stars. They're drawn to the people that climbed and crawled and created and visioncast and dreamed and got to there. And then they said, here I am.
Mm-hmm.
That's what people want to know about. So know your brand story. What is your brand story? Start writing that brand story down. Now, back to the media empire, because now you know your brand story. Now you can start building out that media empire of what do I want to do? What am I good with? I am good with painting pictures. I am good, whether it's the video side or just the audio side. I know that when I speak, I can grab an audience, hold them into my imagination, and I can tell a story, and they will love it, and they will believe it. I built my media empire on that. I built my media empire on audio, sports play-by-play, talk show, just audio, till now it's more video, and more video. So think about channels now. And this is where it gets really interesting and really tricky. So I'm going to make sure I slow down well here for you, because when you start thinking about channels, you start thinking about your media empire. We've got Twitter, we've got Instagram, we've got Facebook, and we know what they do, right? But do we really know what they can do for us?
I was just going to say, do we really know that? Yeah. And, just looking at your slide here, the word that comes to me is overwhelm.
Yes. We are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
We are overwhelmed. We are trying to be on every platform, everything. Threads just launched within the last week or two, and everyone's jumping on Threads. And people are already jumping off of Threads.
Really? I hadn't heard that. Okay.
There's too much, and there's too much noise. So part of building this media empire, part of knowing your brand story is, how do I break through the noise and be found and be seen and be heard?
Exactly.
So build a media empire and be intentional about the channels that you want to be on. You do not need to be on every channel. Let me say that again. You do not need to be on every channel. You need to decide where your voice, your story, your clients, where do they hang out? Where is the best fishing pond for you? And how are you going to reach them through social media? Be targeted. Every TV station, every news station, every movie, television show does extensive marketing to know their audience before they launch it. They know the time zones. They know the days when the kids are going to be up early watching cartoons. When I was a kid, Saturday morning, all we saw was toys and candy and commercials about it over and over again. They knew when they're
and there were some cartoon animals, as I recall.
But
there was another famous mouse on Saturday mornings.
Which one was that?
Mighty?
Oh, Tom and Jerry.
Was that Mighty Mouse? Which one was he on?
Yes, Mighty Mouse was there too.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. The other mouse.
So this is where you build your media empire. You think about channels and amplify them. Now, you have to be so intentional about this, because let me take you into a deep dive and educate you a little bit here today on how this works. Paramount is combined with CBS and Viacom. Now, Viacom's been buying out over the years. We see the big Paramount on all the movies. But we also see, if you have Paramount Plus, CBS is everywhere. Most of the shows are CBS movies and shows. Those two have merged together so much you almost cannot separate them out. But so I just took the CBS side of things. CBS has CBS Entertainment, CBS Sports, CBS News Stations, Media Ventures, CBS Studios, CBS Publicity. You see what they have going on? They have different buckets about where they target and how they move CBS. You also know that CBS has different channels out there, like Nickelodeon is under the CBS brand. So we begin to think about building your channels. Let's go back to the beginning now. You are the brand. Everything runs to you. Think of yourself as CBS.
Okay.
See? Think of yourself as Viacom, Paramount. You are the center. Now you have Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, you have YouTube, you have all these TikTok, you have all these different channels now. Ask yourself a question. Do your channels point to you, your website, or do they really point to nowhere because you're just pumping stuff out, but it doesn't direct people to you, the genius?
Okay.
And if you would answer that, most people will answer, it doesn't point anywhere. But what if you could create what Paramount, CBS, Viacom have created? What if you could create your Twitter, Facebook to be so targeted, you are now building a media empire. You are now literally having them find you, click you, and not only do they go to Twitter, they jump over to Facebook. They want to learn more about you over there because it's slightly different. Because not all of your channels need to be the same. Today I did a 2 o'clock live, and I talked about this concept of we have all of our content, we post something, and we post it on all of our channels. It's redundant.
Yeah.
Why not have different content targeted? Facebook is more family and friends oriented. Why not do more of the personal side of who you are on Facebook? TikTok is made for shorts. Those are like your commercials. Start thinking as a media company. And when you do that, this is what I do. So Rock the Stage has been going for over 3 years in a formal professional fashion now. Everything goes to my website. That is my funnel, and YouTube is my second main funnel. Now I'm going to explain this. My main 4 channels, there are so many channels out there, but the main 4 that I use are LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. They're all very media centric. They all have a different focus. LinkedIn is very business. That's where I connect with most colleagues and do a lot of networking. So I intentionally post in a way that it looks like I'm the professional, I'm the media expert, and I want to connect with you to learn about your business, so how I can help you leverage media. It's different on Facebook. Facebook, you get more of Trigger, his life, his weekends fun, pictures at the ball game sometimes. Now, I do blend some of the other things in, but it's more of the personal side. Each one of those is different. But what I've decided to do with my brand is I'm going to live stream as much as I can. I have done live TV and radio all my life. Now that we have things like StreamYard, Facebook Live, LinkedIn Live, we have all this ability to literally grab an audience live. That's how television began. It was live TV that people would wait for, and then the next live show came on. And if they blew a line, they blew a script, if a prop door fell down, it was a one-take show. That's how all these media empires began. So I'm thinking, I have the power of live. I can address people, interact with people, grab chats, grab texts, take live questions on the show. I am creating my empire live in the moment, and then replaying the content, reusing the content we're going to talk more about. But how do you build your media empire? Let me show you exactly in detail what I do with my own version of my network right now. Every day, Monday through Friday, I stream at 2 p.m. live for 15 minutes. That's at least 20 times a month. I am live Monday through Friday, streaming on multiple channels like we're doing here today. So I'm streaming on 2 Facebooks, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and LinkedIn. If I have a guest on, they add their channels on, and now we're streaming on more. You see what we're doing? We're building a web to build a network. So 20 times a month, I'm doing that. 4 times a month, I do my show, How to Rock the Stage, live. That's a video-driven show again. Well, that's 4 times a month. We turn that into an audio podcast and put that up as an audio show, separate content. Then I work with the National Speakers Association. The NSA helps speakers grow and build. I do 3 things for them, all live stream. I now have created and host and produce for them NSA Behind the Stage. That's once a month. And then I have 2 Facebook groups that I host and run for them as well. Different audience, different people, a different channel. You see what's going on? On average, I stream live at least 27 times a month. And that's how people know Trigger. That's how they know my brand.
Sure. That makes all the sense in the world. And I love live streaming too for obvious reasons. But you know, I'm really Here's my question, Rich.
Yeah.
Where do you find the time?
That's where I said at the beginning, you have to pick your lane. Where are you going to be? Because you can't be everywhere to everybody. People
Okay.
literally have gotten to know me as the live stream guy, the live TV show
Okay.
guy. I have built my career because that's what I knew. And I love it. I love the impromptuness. I love that I don't know what's ever going to happen. And when it's live, it's authentic. And people want authentic. They want real.
Absolutely.
They want authentic.
Absolutely.
And if they can see me screw up here and still go forward, it means they can learn from a guy that's not afraid to mess up live in front of the world.
Oh yeah,
So
I can think
my
of,
authority.
and I can think of, when I started with this, and I was never a media personality, but I can remember, how overwhelming it was. And I did an entire workshop. Well, it's actually a full day workshop, and I didn't hit record. I had spent the whole weekend redoing it. So my mantra to my team this week has been, remember my mother, because my mother was a wedding planner, and she always said, expect the unexpected. Somebody's zipper is going to break, or something, something's going to happen. And that's been, we'll just roll with it. What else can you do?
Well, and that's where you learn to become unflappable. You learn the roll of the punches. And some people are scared to death, which I totally understand. But I built my brand around that. I have built around, I'm calm, I'm cool, I'll lead you through it. So when I produce and host shows for other people that hire me to be their spokesman, to be their MC, to do streaming events like this, they hire me to be the main host, they know they're in good hands because I know how to handle all the stuff that nobody else sees.
Yeah, and that's a matter of getting comfortable with it, I think. And being willing to look a little foolish when things go wrong. I mean, there's going to be something. Somebody just told me recently about how he was live streaming, and there was a big spider on the ceiling coming down.
Well,
I don't know how I do with the spider.
That's how you have to learn where you belong. It's trial and error. When you build your media empire, you're going to try things and go, no, that's not me. Don't try to fit in where you don't feel comfortable. The best way to build your media empire is, again, Walt Disney was the dreamer. He was not the financial guy. So everything that he did was vision, creativity, and then he empowered his teams. Walt Disney, when he talked through Cinderella, he brought all his animators together, so you can catch the video of this. He literally acted out most of the roles of the film. So they would understand what he wanted, what the emotion, the vibe, the energy of the characters, and the animators were drawing Walt, playing these characters out to catch it in the moment. He was that creative, and he looked like a fool. He was the CEO, the president, the founder, but that's where he shined the most. So when you build your brand empire, know where you fit. I fit on streaming live content.
Okay.
Where do you fit?
Yeah, so, that's the question, isn't it?
Yeah. And again, all these is meant to get you thinking about what you want to do and how you want to do it. So one of the areas to build your media empire is to learn how to be a public speaker. I know we were talking about authorship before. Be an author. You need to diversify and not just be in one place, because to be a media empire like Viacom, they have a publishing branch, like I mentioned earlier. They have a cartoon branch for kids, Nickelodeon, and other places like that. You need to figure out how to take the same product, turn it on its head a little bit, and go into a different category. So as a public speaker, I speak on media, marketing, branding. I do keynotes like this a lot. Some are virtual, some of them in person, but you can now take it as a speaker and package yourself back to the idea, you're the expert. So people hire me as an expert to speak on marketing and media branding. I'm not going to speak on toys. I'm not going to speak on other things and high science and space and fixing cars. Someone else can do that. Yeah. I'm going to talk on media. Take your brand and get coaching, join the National Speakers Association, join other places, goes to Toastmasters. But one of the best ways to elevate you and your brand is learn how to speak on a stage. Whether it's paid or free, leverage your authority and become a professional speaker. It's just another outlet for you. It's like another channel on the TV dial that you now get to shine that way. And again, remember, Walt Disney, every Sunday night, he came out and he set the stage for the major project of the night. He leveraged public speaking to grow the rest of the brand. And as a reminder here, no one else can speak for the brand better than the brand ambassador, the brand authority.
Absolutely. Yeah, I totally agree with you there. And you know what you were bringing back for me, Rich, is, and I think we're probably somewhere in the same, relative age bracket,
Yeah.
because I can remember Sunday night and Walt Disney, and he was like Uncle Walt. I mean,
Yes.
we all knew him. We felt like he was talking directly to us. And something, I'm going to give you a little quiz. I'm going to ask you one thing. Do you know what the first television network was called?
I do, but I can't remember right now.
Dumont.
Dumont.
It's the Dumont Television Network, and it had all
Are you in
the
that family line?
Yeah, actually, I am. I was named my grandpa. That was my great grandmother's surname, and my grandfather's first name. I was named after him, and he was a real stutterer, Rich. And when I was a kid, because my first name's Lynn, my middle name's Dumont, so my parents always called me Lynn. But my grandfather, stuttered, and I would sit on his lap. And I didn't care if he stuttered. He was my grandfather, right?
Yeah.
And I just adored him. So when I chose to go by that name, it was because he always called me his voice. He always said I spoke for him. So I have a deep, deep love of that. The other thing that I recalled was that my mother was once engaged to a cartoonist from Walt Disney Studios. And do you know who the first superhero was? First animated superhero.
I should know this, but I don't.
Okay, Super Goof.
Super Goof?
It was Goofy in a Superman.
It was Goofy as Super, yeah.
So
But those are all things of taking what's already going and turn them on their head a little bit.
Right.
And again, the stuttering of your family, that's part of your brand story. That's part of, that's what we need to share. And that's part of what people really love about you. The authentic nature of you help you break through so many more doors. And it's also the number one fear of public speakers and experts is we want them to buy our products, know our products and everything else, but we don't want them to know me. I work with a lot of authors. Authors, I love you, but you struggle with telling you. You want to read the book, talk about the book, shake the book out, do everything, but you don't want to talk about you. And you're the genius that wrote the book.
Yeah.
And when you get to that place where you talk about your genius and the book, believe me, the audience goes wild and the ticket sales go up higher and higher, and it does go. You are a central part. And now more than ever with media the way it is, you have to stay in the center. And I coach authors on how to be better public speakers, by the way, because it is hard for them. They just want to read the book, hold it in front of their face and read the book. That's
what I want to do. I mean, it's just, it's so much easier than telling about yourself.
Yes.
Talking about yourself and presenting your underbelly, as it were. Part of my brand story is that I had to shut down my first business. It didn't go because I didn't know anything about marketing or branding or any of that. So I found my way to branding, but it was a long route. I should have, if I'd known about you, Rich, it would have saved me years.
Here I am.
Yeah,
I got more.
Keep going. Keep going.
So the next thing you have to learn, if you're going to be speaking on stage, you're going to build a media empire, you're going to get interviewed. Now, podcasting has exploded. This new world of podcasting is a gateway. I'm going to talk more about that in a second. But therefore, as a media brand empire, as a creator, as an author, as someone that makes paper mache and sells them at the carnival, whatever your expert area is, you need to learn how to be interviewed. You can blow your brand so fast in a bad interview. There are professional tips to know how to go on, be prepared, because they're always looking for these wonderful things called sound bites. They're always looking. If you think of watching the nightly news, the president comes up to the podium, he says something, and every one of those major networks uses the same soundbite. It's not because the president sent them the soundbite. It'd be the president practiced and knew this would grab their attention, and everyone grabbed the same soundbite. It's practiced, it's rehearsed, it's a sharp point that people want to know about, but he makes it sound like it accidentally fell out of his mouth.
Yeah, boy, that's good. I mean, that's really good. So this is probably a basic question, but it's one that I really want to know. You've got this big stage, and you just swallowed everything and said, okay, I'm going out on this stage and talk to people. How do you prepare for that? I can just see the lights going on and seeing those people out there and my brain just going totally blank.
So I just got done with a month-long campaign, live streaming, interviewing other speakers and influencers, talking about freedom of the fear of public speaking. And we talked about the anxiety, the nervousness, about backstage prep. And a lot of it is, one of the big things is loosen up, because we often get tight before we go on. They'll give us 5 minutes till you're on. They pat you on the back. Good luck. And instead of going, we go, and we close in on ourselves. Instead, you want to literally loosen up. So a lot of the time, especially if I'm doing something virtual, most often I will turn on my favorite song, Carry On Wayward Son by Kansas, and I will air guitar and sing, and the people around me think I'm a nut job. It gets me excited, it gets me energized. I play to the audience better because I'm getting out of my own head and just being free, and then I'm ready to go. I'm performance ready. Find what works for you. That's why you see athletes. A lot of athletes, when you see the NFL games, they're walking to the stadium with their headphones and they're working out. This is the music that gets them pumped up, gets them in the game, gets them in the zone. Find what works for you so you don't have that nervousness, so you don't freeze when you go out. You're already flying with energy. And that's another tip for the public speaking side, is have someone else read your introduction. When I go on stage in a major keynote, someone else will introduce me and give my name, what I do, blah, blah, blah. And they'll even mention in my introduction, and the guy that stutters for a living is here to help you speak better. Welcome, Trigger. And there's a laugh, there's an applause, and you set the energy, but someone else introduces you because they set you up as the authority. They show you're the expert they brought in. They're patting you on the back before you say a word, and the audience gets to go, yeah, that's what we came for. That's one of those other tricks that elevate you and your expertise. When someone else reads and introduces you, it forces it to raise you up. And the same thing with learning about these media skills, learning about interviews, learning how to close out an interview is so important. One of the biggest pet peeves I have, I can be working with somebody, doing the interview, and I'm like, thanks for being here tonight. And I read off their social media. Here's the best way to connect with them. I give them a nod. Any final words? And they give me one final word or two. Thanks again for being here. And I'm backing them off the stage. I'm winding down the show. And they always have to say one more thing. Hey, Mom, by the way, great to be here. Thank you. Oh, Tony, I see your name in the box, Tony. Thank you, Tony. They ruined the ending. They completely destroyed the ending. It's like an airplane takes off. So I was talking about the takeoff. When you have the big announcement, you go on stage and there's energy. When you get to public speaking and interviewing, you want that announcer, the interviewer, to wrap you up with a pretty bow. Again, they open up with your credits. They usually end with your book you got coming out, your new movie coming out. All you have to do after that is smile. Just smile. Silence is gold because they are putting an exclamation point on you as the brand authority expert.
Yeah.
When you trip over them, it's like an airplane crashing on landing. It's horrific. People want to remember your beginning and your end. You want great content in the middle, but they always remember your beginning and an end. With interview skills, you need to learn how to play the part. And I coach that, I lead that, but that's part of building your brand empire. People are going to interview you, they are going to call you. And with the age of podcasting, you can have more opportunities to speak and be interviewed than ever before. And the way you get more interviews is by learning how to be interviewed.
Okay.
So learn that as you build media empire. Now, we haven't even talked about YouTube yet.
Oh, again, yeah. Well, let's talk about YouTube. We don't want to forget them.
Again, I said I stream. I produce video more than anything else I do. I use Restream for my show, and one of my channels I mentioned is always YouTube. So I do 20 live shows every month, guaranteed at 2 p.m. Every one of those automatically goes to my YouTube channel.
So people anticipate it.
So people anticipate it. It's automatic playback. And now I have a 2 p.m. live sub channel on my main channel for Rock the Stage. So it's like the old TV guide. Remember the old TV guides?
Yeah.
You flip through and you get Monday night, the lineup block, Tuesday night, the lineup block.
Yeah.
Now I have Rock the Stage show. So when you go to my page on YouTube, it's got Rock the Stage on one level. All the shows lined up in a row. 2 p.m. live lined up in a row. I have other things and other interviews, but it looks like you're looking at your old TV guide now.
Mm-hmm.
Create your own TV show. If you're doing a podcast right now and you're only doing audio, ask yourself, are you using Zoom or some video type of platform to do your interviews and record your content and you're only putting your audio up?
Yeah.
Why are you wasting the video? And even if you don't use all the video, think TV, think movies. We see movie trailers, we see teasers.
Yeah.
Every week there's a new episode teaser. Pull a little bit of video out of your interview, even if you're doing audio only, put it on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, wherever you're going to put it, tease, and then put a link to your audio playback of it. For the video will grab them, raise awareness, and you're still just doing an audio podcast if you don't want to do video.
That's fabulous.
We're not thinking like media. We aren't thinking that way.
Yeah. Yeah. So you are not just adapting what you do to different channels. You're actually repurposing some of that. Is that?
Well, yes. Look at that next slide right there.
Yeah,
right on. Now, repurposing is something that it does take time. Get a VA, get a partner, get someone that loves to play with video, because I'm here most of the time. I love being here. I do create a lot of my stuff, then I give it off to other people. But the original replay concept started with I Love Lucy. I Love Lucy for the first several years was going straight out to TV, like I mentioned earlier. They were in studio with a live studio audience, and they began to think about, little Ricky's getting older. People can't remember the Superman episode. And they sat down, Desi Arnaz and Lucille Ball sat down, husband and wife, and they own their own production company, Desi Lou Productions. And they said, what if we replayed a show? And the crowd went wild because they had never seen it. They were late into the seasons. They replayed a show, and the people went, oh my gosh, we get to see it with new friends, with new family. The TV show MASH, when it first came on, MASH was almost a dud. It was not what CBS expected it to be. It was a comedy with a dramatic story undertone that some were very emotional. They touched on social topics. And the first 3 years were kind of rocky. When it got to syndication, most shows, if you had 100 episodes, you go to syndication, they go to replay. MASH became a hit in my local area after the 10 o'clock news. But they didn't do it. So 10 o'clock to 10:30 is your normal news. What the CBS network did was most of their networks that put MASH on at late night slid to a 10:35 start time of MASH. They usually had an extra segment. They kept you on CBS longer because you wanted to watch MASH late at night.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
the numbers went up and up and up. One final example. Star Trek only lasted 3 years, the original Star Trek series. Major failure. It got to syndication. It was in reruns. It's now going to celebrate almost 60 years very soon. And Star Trek, The Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, they've had babies and babies and babies. And Star Trek is the golden goose for CBS. And I talked about CBS earlier.
Yeah.
Star Trek is the golden goose that keeps on giving.
So.
And it's only because of replays. Captain Kirk, William Shatner, the original episodes with Leonard Nimoy are still in reruns around the world right now.
Oh, wow.
Don't waste your replay. Too many content creators are playing it once and saying, everybody saw it. Oh, I can't use it again. No, pull it out, replay it.
Yeah.
There's new people growing in your funnel. There's new fans, new followers. One of the cool ways to do that is do a replay and then come on and do a commentary about what you would have changed then, what you've learned now. Use it as another teaching example.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
There's so many ways to use replays instead of letting them be lost forever. Take advantage of everything you create and think about how you can repackage it, replay it, represent it. Because that's what the networks are doing. And again, we want to think like the media empire. Don't think like you're small. Yeah. You got a question?
Well, Rich, that's just so insightful, and it's so helpful because I think all of us, well, maybe not all of us. There's probably somebody out there who doesn't struggle with this, but I think most of us at some point struggle with content creation. You know, it's that whole, you know, what am I going to talk about? You know, how am I going to do this? And you know, how am I going to get started? And it seems that what I'm hearing from you is that it doesn't always have to be original. We can repurpose what we've done. We can be Walt Disney and introduce that topic. You know, ooh, I'm so happy.
Well, and you bring up Walt Disney. During the video age, during the VHS and DVDs early on, things went in the vault. For 10 years, you did not see certain Disney movies. They vanished. Didn't sell them, didn't do anything. And then they would have a grand announcement, coming out of the vault from Walt Disney Studios. And people went crazy.
We went crazy. I remember because well, to be honest with you, we call our private gated area the vault. Yeah, that's where we'll have your interview, is in the vault. But I love that whole idea because it was celebrating bringing something back that was you know, just crucial for us. You know, it was really good information. So I love that.
And then the tack onto this, the next step is repurpose curated content. Now we're into the shorts. Now we're into the TikTok video. You don't have to make a new video. You can chop it up into bite-sized nuggets now, the one thing that you created, and take one nugget, just put one nugget on your TikTok. And then a couple of days later, put a nugget on. But every time you put another nugget on, you put a link in the description, goes back to the original content that you're putting on your YouTube or on your website, and they keep going back to the full content only by watching a micro content.
Wow, that is so cool. You know, that's
never waste a soundbite. Never waste the opportunity to repackage and represent. Mostly every film right now is a repackage. I mean, how many Mission Impossible films have there been? 7 as of right now, okay?
Oh, have there? I couldn't have told you.
There was a TV series that ran for 7 years with the original Mission Impossible.
Oh, yeah.
we still make them. It's the same basic plot. They put on a mask, they capture somebody, they get away, they do a big stunt, they put on another mask. It's been done over and over. We keep coming back for the same content.
Yeah.
So one of the big tricks of doing this, when you think about building your brand empire, public speaking, interviewing, all this together is, we feel we have to give everyone all the content all at once. A big brain dump. I got to squeeze everything to this.
Mm-hmm.
No. Start thinking like episode TV. Give them one part of the big story.
Mm-hmm.
That's one video, not the whole video, not all the information. And then you chop up that one video into micro content. You replay that video, and then you do another episode with another component of the bigger picture. And you do episodes, training modules, which we were talking about just before I came on. That's how you create these ongoing modules, not by having intentionally planned out stuff. Film something long if you want, and chop it up. There are many podcasts doing that right now. There are some of the best podcasts they do the interview first, and then they go back and listen for the great sound bites, chop those up, and then they actually refilm a pre-talk. Tonight we're going to have Billy Joe Bob on our show. It was a great interview earlier this week. We loved it. You're going to love when he talks about his dog and this amazing story. But they're doing a preamble to a pre-taped show. And then after the episode, they come back and say, wasn't that amazing? Oh my gosh. So now they're bookending new content, new reactionary content off of a pre-recorded show. It's endless what you can do. It's endless, but you have to think like a media empire. You're not just creating content here. You can take all the content you create and use ChatGPT or other outlets now and pull the audio off, have them decipher it, and now you have a book. You don't have to be an author anymore. You can be an author by taking the video audio and turning it into a book. You can have an audio book off of your video content.
Yeah.
Don't think one-dimensionally. This is what the media networks have been doing for years. This is how they do what they do. And at the end of it all, the big secret is everything points back to you. Everything points back to the genius that you are, the expert you are. And instead of shrinking from that, you need to do it in a humble but powerful, confident way. Walt Disney was loved by so many people. Like you said, he was Uncle Walt. He would walk around the park, he would talk to people, pat them on the back. He would talk about what they're playing, how he wants it different. They'd laugh and they'd joke. And he had that chemistry, but it all pointed back to Walt and Mickey.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You know, in fact, didn't he actually talk to Mickey? Like there would be, you know, they'd have Mickey there and he would have a conversation with Mickey. No, I wasn't a big Walt Disney fan. I loved it. And you know, you have just, I want to thank you, Rich, because you have really taken this, you know, and really made this into such a valuable experience. And I know that you know, you're a real expert with this, and I know people are going to want to know more. You have an offer that will help people who really want to learn how to do this. You want to talk about it for a minute?
Well, I'm going to share screen again first, because I'm going to take you back, and I'm going to make this really easy on everybody.
Okay, great.
Let me go bring this back on here, and then you can always ask me more questions.
Yeah, I'm
follow up.
Here we go.
And hit that QR code, and you get a free gift. That's a free download. Get something to get you thinking about building your media empire, or help reinforce some things we talked about. But it's a visual tool to help you think of some of the things that I've shared and we've talked about. And then if you want to connect with me to book a free call and have a free consultation, hit the QR code, and that will hit you with all this different information. And on that is book a free call. But that will take you to my YouTube. It will take you to my LinkedIn. It will take you to my different media channels. to help you learn about what I do, but you can also book a free consultation that I can sit down and hear your dreams, hear your struggles, figure out how to make it better for you. And then ultimately, if you would like more help, I'm always there for that. But the idea is to help you get yourself out of the way to learn how to build your media empire. Take the first step, make a
Wow.
call. Let's talk about your dreams.
I wish I had a great follow-up to that, but I don't, because what you just offered is so great, and you just illustrated something too that, my tech challenge mind sometimes struggle with, and that's the QR code. I mean, how has that changed so much of what we do? That.
It is instantaneous now. I mean, the click of the phone, this is one of our greatest tools in the world now.
Yeah, and
You can
we
start
all
your
spend.
audio podcast right there. You can start it right now. No major gadgets. You can take video with this now. Start your own video podcast. You can stream live. This is your mini studio right in your hand for everything I talked about today.
Isn't that amazing? That we can do all of that. I'm always shocked, really, at what the possibilities are for us. This has been so powerful. I cannot say enough about it. I am so glad that I'm looking at these comments. Powerful. Wow. People are really enjoying the content, but I think more, you have demonstrated to all of us, that we can master this. We can master this marketing. It's just learning how to do it. And I'm so glad that you've made this opportunity available to people. I'm going to take a picture of that QR code, because I am going to be booking a call with you. Seriously, because I am just blown away by what you just did. And any guy who knew Walt, if you're a friend of Walt, you're a friend of mine.
One of the things that people struggle with is I have been doing this for 36 years. I have gone from 8-track cassettes, records backing up and replaying.
Yes.
I have gone through the vinyl, the CD, everything. I've gone through the iterations of this, and every way there's been something to add in. But part of it is people look at what I do and they go, I can never do what Trigger does. And I've heard it. The truth of the matter is you can do everything I'm talking about. You may not hit a home run every time, but I never did either. Take all the pressure off of it's too much, it's too big, it's beyond my reach. Take the pressure off and just begin a step at a time. Like I said, that brand story nugget is so important. Slowly work on changing from what you're doing, building a media empire, to diversifying and showing the full 360 of who you are as a creator, as an author, as a speaker.
Yes.
And you will build something really different. But don't try to be me. Don't try to be Walt Disney. Be you, but use the tools that you have.
That is just the best advice. Rich, I know that people are going to want to follow up on this. And what I'm also going to do, with your permission, is I will also let people who were registered but were unable to be on live, I will make sure that they get those gifts. We'll be sending them out a little bit later too, but I just, I cannot thank you enough. You have opened up my eyes, because I had not really thought about how broad we could make that media channel, and I hadn't thought of it as a channel,
And most don't. Most don't. Most of them think it's LinkedIn, it's Facebook, it's Twitter. It's these things that we're pushing out. But they should be pointing back to you if you use it.
And you made that point so well. And I loved also some of your ideas about, putting up something that's shorter, like, a short clip, one of those 1 minutes, and then using that to drive people to that program or whatever it is. This has been so interesting and so helpful, Rich. Before you go, is there a last piece of advice that you can offer?
Well, were there any questions that came into you I don't want to ignore the live audience.
No, but what I do see is that One person wrote, I really enforce the ending of my podcast with my voice. I need to go back, or I used to really enforce the ending of my podcast with my voice. I need to go back to that. And um, you know, when I think about podcasting or any of those kinds of things, that voice, that tone of voice, the way that we modulate. Speak to that a minute, because I know that some people find certain kinds of voices irritating.
That's where voice practice, public speaking, my voice, I do have original tapes of my early play-by-play. And I've intentionally kept some of them because the journey has gone a long way. I have a deeper, richer voice that I've learned how to control. This is my instrument.
Yeah.
And so there are certain things that I don't do. Like, for example, if I know I'm on a show, if I'm doing a long speech, there's no caffeine in my body because it tightens the vocal cords. I used to do
Oh,
basketball
I hadn't thought of that.
and I would drink Mountain Dew like no one's business. And I was doing a high school tournament, 16 games in 4 days. And I'm sitting at center court with the guys from Channel 9 out of Minneapolis, St. Paul. And the guy leaned over and goes, "Hey, kid, just so you know, you need to stop drinking that on game day." I'm like, "Why, man? It's keeping me cool. It's keeping me pumped up." He goes, "The caffeine will kill your voice and you won't be able to do this and make the career that you want to make because I've been listening.
Wow.
You're good." And I went, "Really? No more Mountain Dew on game day."
Yeah. I never would have thought of that.
No. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And
Well, that's why
one
we
of the
need
other big
people like
advice.
you.
Yeah, and one of the biggest thing I can tell you is learn to listen to your voice. The voice in your head cavity is not the voice people hear. And our broadcast teacher 30 years ago, Richard Long, one of the guys that said I would never make in this business because I stutter, he laughs about it now. But Richard actually told everybody, "You don't sound like you think you sound." So he would play audio tapes of us practicing for everyone in the room to hear. And the first couple times it was like chalkboard screeching at you because that's not my voice that I hear. You have an auditory voice and you have an internal voice. Part of it is learning to get comfortable with that voice you now know is the real voice and learning how to modulate it, adjust it, slow down your speech rate, do different things and learn how to raise your voice, dip your voice. The more you listen to yourself, as painful as that may be, the better you will get.
Okay, that is really helpful, and I think a lot of people who are listening would find that helpful. You have just been so full of great information, Rich. I just can't thank you enough. And we are going to be, and I'll be sending out that QR code for people so that they'll have that. And folks, Rich knows what he's talking about. So if you are looking for someone who can just help you understand how to build that media presence, how to build that brand, just run, don't walk, and make that appointment, because I know I'm going to be one of the first people in line, Rich. So thank you so much for coming on.
Thanks for having me. It's been great. Thanks.